What's up, CFO gang? It's your boy Jay Tuck. Real Cowboys fans, stand up and go. Today, we got to talk about the news that everyone is talking about, and that is the trade to Trey Lance being traded to the Dallas Cowboys. So what I wanted to do is kind of just go back in time. So y'all bear with me. We're going to get into some of the film session, but I think a lot of people are kind of being misinformed, especially Cowboys fans, of who Trey Lance really is. So you have to go back to that 2021 NFL draft, and remember, that was a loaded draft class. You had Kyle Pitts, you had Justin Fields, you had Trevor Lawrence, you had Jalen Waddle, you had Jamar Chase, and we had Micah Parsons, right? So that was a loaded draft class. But a lot of people don't remember we were still kind of in a pandemic. So when you think about Trey Lance when he was at North Dakota State, his 2019 campaign was the only year he actually had as a redshirt sophomore. So during that campaign, he had a 67% completion percentage. He threw for over 2,700 yards, 28 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I repeat, he threw for 28 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and he had 1,100 yards on the ground and 14 touchdowns from the rushing aspect. So when you look at it, he was a dual threat quarterback coming into the draft. Now, what happened in 2021, right? His next season, 2020, his next season, right? The season got canceled during the pandemic. I think North Dakota State only had one game. He decided, I'm going to declare for the NFL draft, and he goes into the NFL draft with only 1 year of college football experience. So, from the standpoint of Trey Lance, that's not his fault. It was all documented. Everybody knew his situation that, hey, he is very green. He is going to be a project quarterback, a dual threat guy who has tremendous upside, but he hasn't played a lot of games and he didn't play against, the Alabamas, the LSUs, and so on, right? So what did the 49ers do? They trade the house. They trade the house to go get Trey Lance, right? And shockingly, if you go back to my draft coverage, I was like, why would they go get Trey Lance when you have a Justin Fields right there? Like, I just never understood the Justin Fields hate. But when you look at Trey Lance, he was kind of a bootleg Justin Fields, but Justin Fields did it at a much higher level than Trey Lance. So the San Francisco 49ers, they traded the house, get the number 3 overall pick in that draft, and they took Trey Lance. Now, based off of rumors, there was a split. The coach Shanahan did not want Trey Lance. He didn't want him. He was very adamant about that. He wanted Mac Jones, which he had probably been wrong about that anyways, right? But that front office wanted Trey Lance. So there was already coming in with that split about should he be the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. They did also have Jimmy Garoppolo already in-house, but it looks like they were wanting to move on from Jimmy G. So there was that split. So what happens? The San Francisco 49ers, they take Trey Lance, right? Number 3 overall pick. But during that season, they kind of set him on the bench, right? Because they still had Jimmy G. So they went with Jimmy G. They were going to let Trey Lance develop under Jimmy G and get him ready for season 2. Well, what happened last year? He goes out with the injury. Jimmy G goes out with the injury, and Brock Purdy mania begins. And so here we are, right? So I think when a lot of people think about Trey Lance, it's like, oh, he's a bust. He's this, he's that. No, he was a project quarterback who just never got his opportunity. And sometimes when you don't have a sponsor in the house as a project, you get kind of left on the shelf. So I want to go ahead and get into some of his preseason film at the NFL level. But if you go back and saw what he did last year, he got the injury, right? But if you also go back to college, he was a very RPO heavy quarterback. That's a one read guy that can do a lot of different things, had the arm talent, had the athleticism, but he was a very developmental player. So on this play right here, this is the one everyone's sending me on Twitter like, yo, Tuck, I can't believe we got this kid. Did you see this? Did you see this? Yes, I see this. So what this is it's really a poorly executed screenplay, right? So you have Trey Lance drop back at quarterback position, but what you guys need to focus on when you're running a screen, you are wanting to let these defensive linemen get through, right? You want them to get upfield, right? Get upfield, right? To open up a passing window so that way you can get your running back out here in space with blockers and get him to do different things, right? But that wasn't the case, because if you watch what's going on right here with this right tackle, He holds on way too long. He's blocking for dear life. Right? And then what ends up happening is he kind of pushes this defensive end into Trey Lance's pathway. Like right here, if you look right, he's like, there's no clear path to the running back. Like the running back is right here in the hip. Like there's no way to get around it unless you're going to kind of Pat Mahomes hook throw it out here, which probably still wasn't going to be a completion. So it was a poorly developed screenplay from the start. And then what happens? Trey Lance tries to sell it over the defensive lineman. Defensive lineman jumps up, makes a play, and gets an interception. And then Cowboys fans are like, yo, Tuck, this guy is purely garbage, right? But let's keep it a buck. We family, right? Y'all not just subscribers. We're a family, right? We family, right? And we remember on Christmas Eve, our own quarterback and Dak Prescott had a play very similar to this against the Eagles. So it happens. Like, it's just a poorly developed play. The defensive end makes a play on it. So everyone on Twitter and social media, I get this clip. I understand it. But it was pretty much doomed from the start. So, I mean, I get it. Like, I got thousands of people sending me this one clip thinking this is the overall analysis when it comes to Trey Lance. But on this next play right here, what you're going to see is he's able to stand in the pocket and deliver a strike. Now, it's not a completion, right? But what you're going to do is you're going to have this tight end here. He's going to run this corner route. But over here, this guy, number 9, he's going to come over here in motion. These two, once they come over in motion, just get smoked. They just get smoked. So you have number 9 coming in motion right here. They're supposed to block this guy coming off the edge. I'm not sure who this gentleman is, but he was trying to earn a job this game, right? They're supposed to double team and block here. They both get work. So this defensive end comes off the edge. Boom. Number 9 gets knocked down. Number 60 gets the hoop ran on him. And this is a blind side. You don't want this happening to your quarterback. Right? This is blindside. This can get your career ended. You know what I'm saying? This can get you hurt, right? So even with that, Trey Lance stands in the pocket with pressure from the backside, but also pressure from the front side as well, and still delivers the throw to this tight end on this corner route right here. Now, it's not a completion, right? But you could have caught that. You got to catch that. You got to help your quarterback. Now, this is what the third stringers for the 49ers, right? So this is third string guys, right? Because they had Sam Darnold playing with the 2s and Brock Purdy was out there as well. So these are just third string bubble guys, right? But you got to make that catch, especially after what your quarterback just went through, right? But just going through the courage to be able to stand up in the pocket and take that hit, you know what I'm saying? This hit right here, man, that's scary. That's scary. That's shoulder. That's your shoulder going out. That's your rib shots. Like he's fully exposed, getting sandwiched right there because your offensive line couldn't protect. But even with that, he delivered a strike. This guy just got to make this catch, right? So it shows that what he's able to do, because if you go back to when he was in college, like I said, at North Dakota State, the one thing I did like about him, he had great pocket awareness. Like he could move and bounce around the pocket very well going back to college in that 2019 season. On this right here, though, this is going to be his bread and butter as a developmental player, right? You want to get quick throws, quick reads to get him in motion and get him in a rhythm and get his timing properly set up. And most importantly, build his confidence. So you have his quick little basic route, in route, boom, right? So as of right now, Trey Lance is a one-read quarterback, right? He's a one-read quarterback with some arm talent, with some athleticism, but the processing, the going through his progressions, that's not where he's at. And, I don't want to start, no riffraff, but there was another quarterback who wears the same number 5, versus the team that we play. He was the same exact way. Jalen Hurts did not just hit the ground running. It took him a few years. It also took Shane Steichen and, Coach Johnson and some of those guys to fit the system, add the talent, and really mold him. And then that's when Hurts season really began. The same thing could have been done with Trey Lance. I'm being completely honest. I'm not being biased. I'm not trying to start no Eagles stuff right now because it's Saturday. I'm enjoying my Saturday. But there was a lot of developmental aspect when it came to Trey Lance that, sometimes it's just like, you know what? We're just going to leave this project unfinished, right? On this play right here, you're going to see its instincts, right? So looks like they were trying to come to the flat, right, to this running back right here. But the thing is, you recognize you don't have the numbers. You got 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't have enough blockers to take this on. So what Trey Lance is really just going to recognize is, you know what? Use my God-given ability and get up out. And that's the thing that he is able to do compared to some of the other backup quarterbacks that we have on our roster. It's just keep the chains moving in a variety of different ways. Keep the chains moving, keep the chains moving, keep the chains moving. Just from a backup perspective, right? From a backup perspective, Dak can do that. He used to do it. He doesn't do it as much. I want to see that more. But listen, just get up out there. Live to see another day. And that was the biggest thing about Trey Lance coming out of college is he protected the ball. Like I said, he's threw 0 interceptions. On this play right here, it shows some of the developmental stages of going through the processing, because right here, he first read should have possibly been in this flat. And then you have this crosser who's wide open, but it looks like he's just watching this wide receiver here who's actually going to pull. And he kind of stares it down a little bit. And then once the pressure gets, I think he just gets rattled a little bit in the pocket, right? Because once again, he just hasn't gotten those reps at the NFL level. So boom, he should have been out in the flat, right? Right here to the flat. Let's lead this out to the boundary, right? Get him out in space. There you go right there. Or if not, all of this space is wide open for this crosser, right? But when he's trying to do the stare down, looks like he's looking like, watch where his helmet is. He peeks over to the flat. That's covered. He tries to get back to the middle of the field. Here comes the pressure. Now he's on the movement, and he tries to force a throw, and he sells a little bit. So that's where Mike McCarthy is really going to help him, is just with the timing, the processing, simplifying things. If he's a one-read quarterback, think of him as a quarterback version of Jalen Tolbert, right? All the intangibles, all the athletic ability. But as of right now, you know, he just still have some work to do. And on this last play here, right, this is where the money resides, where the money resides.
Where the money reside, where the money reside, where the money reside, where the money reside.
He's just going to attack the seam. So you're going to have seam, boom, boom. It's going to rate and see where this safety is reading, which side he's shading towards. And wherever side he leans, you go the opposite way. Tip for Madden players out there, right? And then boom, here we go. So you have the safety in the middle of the field. Then boom, right there. Good strike. Touchdown. So that is what's going to help Trey Lance. It's a simplified approach, simple reads, right? He didn't have to get backside. He didn't have to do a lot. Pressure still kind of getting smoked a little bit, but if you give him open windows, he can make throws. So listen, Cowboys Nation, he is a very talented player. Don't let anybody lie to you. He's just going to take some work. The 49ers took a project player with the 3rd overall pick in the NFL draft. That is not our fault. You know what I'm saying? That has nothing to do with us. But for the Cowboys, we spent a 4th round pick on a project quarterback who is still young, who has a lot of upside, and I'm extremely excited about it, man. So comment, like, subscribe. Follow me on all social media platforms at jtuck151. I want everyone to stay safe, stay blessed, stay encouraged. And Stephen Jones, Jerry Jones, and Will McClay, y'all cooking right now, I swear.